Saint Albert the Great, bishop, philosopher, scientist, and doctor of the Church. This reflection is prepared by Father Ayub Francis, pastor at St. Jude Church, Grand Rapids, Michigan, USA. Early life and education. Saint Albert the Great, also known as Albertus Magnus, was born around 1200 in Lauingen, Swabia, now part of Germany. Coming from a noble family, Albert showed a keen intellect from a young age, though his initial studies were not focused on theology. He later studied at the University of Padua in Italy, where he encountered the Dominican order, inspired by the life and teachings of Blessed Jordan of Saxony. Then the head of the Dominicans, Albert, joined the order in 1223. This choice led to a lifetime of both contemplative and scholarly pursuits, allowing him to serve God through the intellect as well as the spirit. Academic achievements and teaching career. Albert's intellectual curiosity was profound, and he quickly distinguished himself as one of the most learned men of his time. He studied in Cologne and at the University of Paris, where he began teaching theology and philosophy. Albert's interest in Aristotle's works, largely neglected by the Christian world at that time, led him to become a primary scholar in introducing Aristotelian philosophy to Western Europe. He integrated these teachings with Christian theology, paving the way for future scholars to harmonize faith and reason. Among his many students was Thomas Aquinas, who would go on to become a towering figure in Christian theology. Albert recognized Thomas's talent early on, referring to him as a dumb ox whose bellowing would eventually fill the world. Their friendship and scholarly exchange greatly impacted the development of Christian thought. Scientific contributions and curiosity. Saint Albert was an early advocate for the compatibility of faith and science, a stance that was radical for his time. His vast studies covered areas such as natural sciences, botany, zoology, geography, astronomy, and mineralogy. He emphasized the importance of observation in scientific studies, conducting experiments and recording his findings. His dedication earned him the title of Doctor Universalis. Due to his impressive command over a broad spectrum of knowledge, he is known as one of the earliest proponents of scientific inquiry within the Church, seeking to understand God's creation in all its complexity and beauty. Albert's detailed writings on plants, animals, and minerals laid the groundwork for future scientific endeavors. His curiosity and open-mindedness regarding scientific matters were remarkable, and he continually sought to reconcile these findings with his faith. This deep respect for both theological and scientific truth has led the Catholic Church to recognize him as the patron saint of scientists. Writings and theological legacy. Albert's writings were extensive, spanning more than 38 volumes covering philosophy, theology, and natural science. His Summa Theologiae, a theological work, was a significant influence on Christian thought, while his De Animalibus on animals compiled vast amounts of knowledge on biology. Additionally, Albert wrote commentaries on the Bible and the works of Aristotle, which helped bridge the gap between classical philosophy and Christian doctrine. In his theological work, Albert highlighted the importance of understanding the natural world as a way to deepen one's knowledge of God, advocating for an approach that harmonized faith and reason. His vision helped lay the intellectual foundations that would later enable thinkers like Thomas Aquinas to create a more systematic Christian philosophy. Bishop of Regensburg and pastoral work. In 1260, Albert was appointed Bishop of Regensburg. Though he served in this role for only 2 years, he demonstrated exemplary pastoral care, dedicating himself to reforming the clergy and ensuring the Church was attentive to the needs of the poor. Despite his short tenure as bishop, his humility and care for his diocese left a lasting impact. In 1263, he requested and was granted permission to return to his scholarly and teaching work, resuming his life as a Dominican friar. Even after stepping down from the bishopric, Albert remained active in church affairs, serving as a mediator in various disputes and advising leaders on theological and ecclesiastical matters. His devotion to the Church and his religious community never waned, even as he continued his scholarly pursuits. Legacy and canonization. Saint Albert the Great died on November 15, 1280, in Cologne, Germany. His reputation as an extraordinary scholar and holy man had already spread across Europe by the time of his death. His vast contributions to theology, philosophy, and the natural sciences were celebrated, and he was beatified in 1622. In 1931, Pope Pius XI canonized him and declared him a doctor of the Church, recognizing the enduring value of his teachings and intellectual contributions. Saint Albert was named the patron saint of scientists and philosophers, a title befitting his life's work in seeking truth. Key lessons and contributions. 1. Harmonizing faith and reason. Albert's integration of Aristotelian philosophy into Christian thought opened the door for future theological advances, particularly in the work of Thomas Aquinas. His efforts laid a foundation for the Church's embrace of reason as a gift from God that complements, rather than contradicts, faith. 2. Advocacy for scientific inquiry. Saint Albert's scientific curiosity and methodical study exemplify the importance of understanding the natural world as a means to deepen faith. His belief in observing and learning from nature as God's creation remains a powerful example for scientists and believers alike. 3. Humility and service. Although a renowned scholar, Albert accepted the role of bishop when called upon and served his diocese faithfully. His humility in stepping down to return to his vocation as a friar shows his dedication to living out his faith in all aspects of his life. 4. Educational impact. As a teacher, Albert was instrumental in fostering a culture of learning and inquiry in the Christian tradition. His influence extended to future generations, especially through his student, Thomas Aquinas, and his encouragement of intellectual rigor within the Church. A lasting legacy. Saint Albert the Great is a figure whose life and work continue to inspire those who seek to understand the world in light of faith. His legacy endures in the Church's respect for scientific study and the harmonization of knowledge and belief. Today, he is remembered not only as a towering intellectual, but also as a humble servant of God who tirelessly pursued truth, both in the world and within himself.